If you study computer science in college, then you know how little you actually learn about software development besides, data structures and algorithms. And yes, okay, although you do need those to pass your Amazon SE interview, which I didn't, no one actually teaches you anything about how to actually build applications. And that is super frustrating because I'd actually, want to learn. The other problem, however, is that developers will often use different technologies and different languages to build different applications according to what makes the most sense. And so since technology is ever evolving, there's no one resource you can turn to actually learn how to do everything. So in order to solve both of these problems, I'm going to teach myself how to build my first full stack web application, and I'm going to give to you all the specific resources that I used to build whatever I build so that you can do it too. Okay, so I have a quick question for you. Have you ever tried figuring out what tasks on your giant to-do list should come first? Well, my idea is a web app that is called StressBoard. And so basically, it's a whiteboard canvas type of to-do list that allows you to prioritize your tasks based on two axes. Okay, the first is the deadline, how soon it's due. And second is the importance. Okay, how big is the reward or consequence associated with that task? Okay, so from my research, the most important part of building an app, if you actually want to finish it, is going to be planning it out. And so I watched a video that talks about, writing on a full feature list of everything you need to use it to be able to do, along with the pages that are associated with them. And so that's exactly what I went ahead and did. Next, I decided I was going to go the extra mile and design a Figma mockup for my application. And so basically, Figma is a really cool tool for more than just, wireframes and stuff like that. So definitely check it out. Now, if you look behind me, you'll see some construction, and that's because the next most important part of your app is the architecture. In other words, what languages and frameworks will it be built on, and also what platforms will it rely upon to function and run on to be used. From what I've learned, JavaScript is the standard for web development, and React is its most popular framework or library. Now, if you want to learn what language or framework is right for you, I'll leave a link to some resources in the description. That'll cover the front end of the application. However, I want to store data and actually make my app available for you to use on your phone or computer, and so we need to figure out the back end. To store my users' data, which will be the text from each of the stress cards, I'll be using Google's Firebase database because it's free for small apps and fairly easy to use with good documentation. Now, to also host my app on its own website, I need somewhere to store my code, which will be GitHub, and another one to deploy it, and I'm going to try out Netlify. After planning out your app and deciding its architecture, step 3 is the implementation, also known as mulling over my computer for the next week and trying to debug my code. First, I'm going to initialize my project folder, and then I'm going to create a basic HTML skeleton of my design using React's JSX elements. I want my stress cards to be draggable across the canvas, and so I'm going to use this library called React Draggable. Now that it's working with my pre-made test cards, I need to figure out how to make a dynamic list of cards that I can keep updating. This is where I had to go through the documentation and look at a lot of example code to understand how React handles state. I built an array of card objects using the useState hook, and then I generated these cards onto the page using the map function. And lastly, I added functions that allowed me to handle adding a card and changing its text. You can also find the link to all this code on my GitHub. Now I want to test out storing this data in a database, and this is where it gets really interesting because bringing in external services like Firebase are necessary for powerful apps to work, but these libraries are constantly being updated. And so the videos on YouTube, a lot of the code that they're using is outdated. And so check the description for links to the current Firebase documentation that I use to build this app. Every user sends into my app using a Google account, and Firebase assigns each account an ID. From there, I can attach the cards to the ID for each user, and then I can read and write data to the database. Finally, I added 2 buttons to each of the stress cards. One is the complete button, which when clicked makes the card green, signifying that you're done. And second is the delete button that removes the card from the page and the database. I'm skipping over hours of debugging and Googling and getting stuck, so don't think this was easy for me in the slightest. I've never been able to build something like this before, and although it's not done, I couldn't be happier. I spent some time designing the app's look and feel, pushed the code to GitHub, and then deployed it on Netlify, so this app is available for you to use right now. Check the description. I've always wanted a dedicated app that could do this, and it's crazy that I could build it, all glory to God. I'd love to get some feedback, so leave a comment, and everything is in the description, so go check it out. It's far from done, but that's what this is about, right? Solving problems, turning passion into power. Thanks for watching. Don't wait for a hero. Go be one. Peace.